Welcome to another episode of Uncustomary Love. Today I'm going to be talking to you about tough self-love. A lot of the time I'm reminding you to treat yourself gently and to be kind to yourself, and I'm not the only one doing that. It's an important reminder, but self-love isn't just about being nice to yourself and expecting miracles. Self-love is about doing the work and seeing progress within ourselves, while accepting, forgiving, and loving ourselves along the way. Self-love is about having guts, making goals, and going after what you want. It's about making shit happen, getting rid of toxic nonsense, not making excuses, and working through tough shit. So today is about tough self-love, and it's going to be a bit tough. If that's not something you think you can handle, that's fine. But before I get started, I want to share a quote I came across recently by Beth Evans. It's okay if you aren't ready for self-love. Sometimes the best we can do is not wanting to destroy ourselves. You aren't a failure for struggling with self-love. You're doing just fine. Keep that in mind whether we're talking about tough self-love or regular self-love, even though it's actually all the same thing. Today we're going to talk about making goals for yourself, making shit happen without room for excuses, addressing your tough shit, including problematic thoughts and behavior patterns, removing toxicity from your life, and finally holding yourself accountable for your actions. It's a big one. I advocate for mindfulness, which in a nutshell is the idea that you shouldn't worry about the past or future and just live it in the present. But ultimately, if we aren't at least aware of the future we want to create for ourselves, we'll trudge along mindlessly in a different type of way and allow the current to take us wherever we want or don't want without a plan. As much as I trust the universe, I'm more about meeting it halfway. I think we are responsible for making goals for ourselves. And deeper than that, we need to believe in ourselves that we can make those things happen and that we deserve for those things to come true. If we're going to be writing down goals on paper, we need to be truly believing that we are capable of it, that, we are able to make these things happen. We're not going to do a very good job of achieving those goals if they are not backed with love, because then they're actually backed with fear. So it all starts with self-love and confidence that we deserve to have good things happen in our lives and that we need to be proactive about our future. If you want to be in a specific place next year, this isn't just going to magically happen for you. Magic exists, but manifestation only works when you put in the work and make it clear that you're willing to meet the universe halfway. Then the universe has your back and helps you go that extra mile to get there. If you want something, you need to work for it. And that starts with a goal. And that goal needs to be backed with love. Okay, next up is making it happen. And that's easier said than done for sure. This is where we procrastinate out of self-sabotage, fear, and low self-esteem. We work on something else or nothing at all. We say tomorrow will be the day. We say we'll work on it when we feel happy. Or when we meet another goal, we randomly decide to slide in front of that first one that we made originally. But here's the reality. You are the only one who can do this stuff. You can always call on your support team for a boost in morale or help with certain tasks, but most of the time, the things that you really crave at your core are achieving things like getting healthy, writing a book, or starting a business, and those things need to be done by you and you alone. You can only outsource so much, and at the end of the day, you need to step the fuck up. This is your moment to shine. So the road to success gets less and less crowded the further that you go down it, because people give up. So don't give up, and there will be more room for you to spread yourself out and succeed. It's actually just this simple. The only thing you need to do to succeed is not give up. It sounds like overly simplistic, and it is, and there's a ton more that plays into that, obviously. But if you truly, truly want something, you'll find a way. People give up over a multitude of things, and if you power through those things, you'll find yourself at the finish line. Finding motivation is different for everyone, though. There isn't a one-size-fits-all outfit or formula that I can give you, unfortunately. I can give you ideas that work for me or my friends, like go outside, travel, meditate, take a walk, practice gratitude, wake up earlier, clean up your workspace. Spend time with creative people, visualize yourself having completed your goal, make a mood board, spend time in nature, create a daily ritual, whatever. But ultimately, your motivation needs to be intrinsic. It needs to come from a place of true desire to succeed. You need to want it, and you need to want it badly. You need to know your why. Why do you want this? This is the best advice I can give you. Answer the question, why? Why do I want this? And post that answer, write it down, and post it above your workspace as a daily reminder. Say it as an affirmation every day. Remind yourself constantly. Your why will get you farther than anything else. Remember also that self-sabotage in the form of procrastination comes up from fear and low self-esteem / doubting that we deserve to succeed. So if this is coming up for you, take some time to build your self-esteem and practice self-care. This is an ongoing practice and process. All right, we don't like to admit that we have problematic thought and behavior problems that prevent us from becoming the best versions of ourselves, but we all do. And guess what? They are almost all learned. Pretty much with the exception of mental illness, we have learned every single unhealthy cognition and behavior pattern that has created a blockage in us that pushes us further and further away from the person we are meant to be, from the true love that we were born with. You do not need any extra love. You have it in you. We just need to unlearn a bunch of shit that breaks down all the other blocks that are there in order to get to our true self. So I can't tell you what problematic thought and behavior patterns you have. I don't have time to sit here and list off all the possibilities either. But what I'm talking about are self-sabotaging behaviors. Think about what happens when you spiral. Okay, fine. Here's a few. Do you self-medicate? Do you ache for external validation from romantic interests? Do you have sexual encounters that make you feel not good afterwards? Do you obsess over a thought until you just can't even make sense of it anymore? Do you overanalyze everything that someone says in a text because you can't hear their cadence of their voice and you worry that they're mad at you? Do you over apologize for things when you didn't do a damn thing wrong? Do you let deadlines creep up on you? Do you assume people are talking shit about you? That kind of stuff. These are all learned behaviors, but guess what sucks? Not only are they now a part of your repertoire, but you are now responsible for unlearning them. Boo, lame. I did not say it was easy or fair, but that is the tough self-love. Your job is to use all the tools at your disposal to work through these issues. Don't try to tackle them all at once. Pick one, try different techniques, try meditating on it, try tapping on it, try journaling about it, try talking about it to a friend or a therapist, try creating positive affirmations that create what you want to feel about that specific issue and saying them every day. Try reading books about the issue, educate yourself, and throw all the tools you can at it. See what sticks, see what works. Some things might work for some issues, and they might not work for other issues. And you might find things that have, certain tools might work across the board. You might fall in love with some and use them for everything. Some things you might hate and use for nothing. But you're in charge and you're responsible for making time for this personal development. Okay, next up is exercising your life of toxicity. This means vices, jobs, environments, habits, and people. It is so hard for some people to wrap their heads around the idea of cutting toxic people out of their life. And I actually wrote an entire article about whether it's selfish or not to remove toxic people from your life. The bullet points are, yeah, we should take care of people in their darkest hour and not just write someone off because they're going through a tough time, right? But consistency is key. If someone shows you their true self, you should believe them, right? So I think you're an adult and you know the difference between someone having a slump in their life and needing your assistance as a true friend, versus them becoming a toxic person / element in your life that is now dragging you down and down and down, and there is no hope of things ever getting better. I think you know. So when I talk about cutting toxic people out of your life, I am not excluding people who are blood related to you. Family can be toxic. In fact, sometimes they're the most toxic. It sucks. Sometimes that's the hardest, and there's extra guilt wrapped up in that. But guess what? Guilt does not serve you. What serves you is becoming the best you, and if someone is preventing you from becoming the best you, you have to lose them in the process. It sucks. Becoming the best you is practicing tough self-love, and it's going to require shedding multiple layers of skin, and there will, unfortunately, be people attached to some of those layers. Other types of toxicity can be things like drugs, alcohol, even caffeine, any vices really. It doesn't mean that you can't enjoy those things. It just depends on how you feel when you're using them and how you're using them and how you feel before and after you do. Think about where you spend your time, who you spend your time with, and how you're spending your time and what you're putting in your body too. You know, what doesn't feel good, and then cut it out. All right, last up is the one that's huge, and it's the one we definitely mostly don't want to hear. It's time to hold yourself accountable for everything. I'm talking about stopping placing blame on other people, things, and entities. I'm talking about taking responsibility and accepting responsibility. I'm talking about apologizing. I know like magic and witchy things have become extremely more popular over the past couple years. And honestly, I am happy that people are getting more involved in it, but that means things like Mercury isn't in retrograde, so everything's my fault again is like getting tossed around as a phrase on t-shirts. And okay, babes, yes, the cosmos are very super powerful and they really influence us, but what the actual fuck? We can't just blame the planet closest to the sun for like 3 months of the year for everything shitty we do. Can we agree that's absurd? Yes, we should be more aware of technological glitches and be wary of signing contracts during Mercury retrograde. It is a time to be conscious and aware, not an excuse to be an asshole. If your friends come to you and tell you they can't stand that you're always on your phone when you're with them, and they feel like they can't even have a conversation with you, when you hear that, instead of deflecting and finding something wrong that they do too and arguing back at them and then going home and calling them a bitch behind their back later, put down your phone, look them in the eyes and say, I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much I was doing that. That's shitty. I'm sorry. I will try really hard to be better and be present with you. And then realize it took a lot for your friend to say that. If people constantly joke about you never being on time, start being considerate about other people's time and make an effort to show up promptly. If you're running late, send a courtesy text. And don't lie about traffic being bad if it's not. Just say you're late and you're sorry. If you had a miscommunication, explain what happened truthfully and offer a solution with an apology for the miscommunication. We don't need to apologize for things that aren't our fault, but just a general, I'm sorry this happened. We all want other people to care about our intentions and not our actions of what actually happened, yet we hold everyone else accountable for their actions and not their intentions. What if we just came to a balance with everything? Self-love is about being the best that you can possibly be. And sometimes that's about getting dirty and doing work that makes you sweat, cry, and get a bit stressed, at least at first. I promise that the more you do this work, the easier it will be. I am sorry if this came off as mean or unloving. I promise this is coming from a place of love, caring, and wanting to help you evolve as the best badass babe you can be. I am your host, Mary, or Uncustomary. You can find me online at uncustomary.org, helping badass babes fall in love with themselves and live happy lives. I'll see you next time.